Welcome to SilverC Review. I want to show off my shirt here. This is my Barbarians last year's softball team, and I just got my new shirt for this year's softball team. We're the one-hit wonders, so probably won't be wearing this one anymore. Just want to show it before I get up here. Alright, hopefully you can see me. It's pretty windy. This is the spot I wanted to record last time, and I avoided doing it because of the wind. So it's coming from behind the camera. I don't know where the mic's at on the camera. I would assume the front, so maybe if it's completely in front of the camera, it'll block the wind noise, but I don't know. Also, I don't know if you buy like a more expensive microphone, like one of those that sticks off the camera, an external one, if that would help with the wind noise either. I don't know, but I just wanted to finally record this one. If I do have to re-record this, or this spot, if I do have to re-record it, I've got lots of places out towards where I'm living. I searched a few parks and I found some really cool places to record, so I'll just do that this weekend because I'm not as swamped as usual this weekend. So anyways, I should have said this in the beginning. I've got to get used to this. At the beginning of each podcast, I want to say that this podcast has an introduction, a movie review, a movie recommendation, and then jokes and quotes. And if you look down in the description, each time frame is listed, so if you need to skip to each one or skip to a certain area that you want. I realized that I like having the introduction at the beginning, but some people may just want to hear the movie review and may not care about all that stuff, so that's why I'm trying to say that right when it begins so people know so they can skip to them. And I went back in all my old episodes and labeled each one so you know where all the sections are and everything like that. So I'll get better at saying that as the first thing. The wind thing it wasn't even on my notes, so that's why it got in front of it. So the more I think about recording audio only, the more amazing it sounds. I mean, I wouldn't have to carry my tripod with me everywhere. I could actually do it while moving around, and it would create more experience and more sounds going on, and I think that would be cool. I could do it while I'm hiking, and I wouldn't have people staring at me constantly. I mean, it would look weird if I was talking on my phone, but I could just walk to a different area where they're not at or get past them or something like that. I'm not in a single location and I'm having to record, and same thing if wind or something is bothering me, I can get down out of it for a little bit, and it seems like it'd be way more dynamic. And if I did that, I would also take pictures of where I'm at. I haven't determined yet if I want to take like one picture and just put myself in multiple areas in that one picture using Photoshop, because if you haven't seen my Flickr, I can do stuff like that. Or if I want to take pictures as I'm hiking or as I'm walking around, and then just post like an album of that day on like Flickr or something. And the only problem is if I do something like that, I guess I would actually be taking pictures as I'm talking, and that might distract me. And actually, I just realized if I do that, I'd have to carry my boards that have all my talking points on them too. So that might be something interesting to figure out. Anyways, if I do the pictures while I'm doing it, it might distract me. So I may just do like one picture so you can see the general location I'm at. And because I mean, when I do the videos, I record one video and you just get technically one picture, just a moving one. So I'm kind of thinking that might be what I'm going to do, because I can focus on doing it when I'm not actually recording the sound file. So, but I'm probably not going to do that until December, like I originally planned to stop the podcast. I may keep it going and just do audio, because I think that would be way easier and way more dynamic. Plus I wouldn't have to worry about lighting at all, and there's just pictures and audio are way easier than video for me, at least. So that's that. I wonder if it would be better if I did something like that to record it on my phone, or if you actually get like an external voice recorder, or if there's any difference, or I wonder if you can connect microphones to your phone. I don't know. That might be something to look at. I finally went through and listened to all my episodes. I've been so busy. I kind of wanted to watch the videos on them, but I can't load videos out where I'm at, so I haven't really messed with them in quite a while. But the other day I was like, I can just listen to them while I'm at work. So I went through and listened to all my videos, and got some notes on them. It was interesting listening to them. Episode 8 when I re-recorded it, it still had rushing water in the background, and the reason I re-recorded it was because of rushing water, so I thought that was kind of ironic. I didn't think you could hear it at all, and then I listened to it, I was like, oh yeah, it's still there. Episode 11, the rushing water in that one, it sounds a lot like static. The wind's blowing really hard, I hope you can still hear me. I'm getting better at figuring out what causes the sounds, because kind of like picture-wise, you just take things for granted until you start doing it more. Okay, well, the wind's not stopping. Anyways, rushing water sounds, I was trying to figure out why rushing water is so, why I didn't like it so much, because I mean, I like kind of lapsing water, and I like, of course, rain and stuff, so I was like, why is rushing water? But in a video, for whatever reason, it just sounds like static. Like, in person, it's not that bad. Maybe a better microphone would actually make it sound more like in person, but yeah, so I'm going to stay far away from rushing water from now on. I already told about labeling the time sections. Oh, I totally talked about me holding my two fingers together in two completely separate episodes. I don't know, I just blocked the first one out of my mind and talked about it again, so you got it twice. I should have sorry. I can do that. I should have re-recorded episode 10 when I was in that pipe and the water was swishing around, because that was just, it was hard to listen to that one. I mean, towards the end, it finally kind of calms down, and at one point you can hear wind noise. I don't have any clue how wind was getting through there, but here comes the wind again, speaking of. Anyways, I should have re-recorded that one. I can't remember if that one was a re-record or not. I don't know, but sorry about that, so listen to that one at your own risk. Oh, I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could hear sirens and vehicles and all sorts of stuff so well in the video. Like, it picks up a lot more than I realized. Like, I was listening to some other ones, like the most recent one, I could hear, or maybe it wasn't. No, it was one of them. I could hear, I was way out in the forest, and I could hear like a vehicle backing up or something. I was like, where in the world could they have possibly been that they were within earshot? And some of these, like, it's possible you can hear the interstate. It's a decent ways away, but trucks and stuff, they're pretty loud. And there's one I'm wanting to record that it's a really cool location, but it's right by the road. So I'm still probably going to try it, but I may have to re-record that one as well, because cars driving by might be too loud, but it's surprising all the stuff you can hear in the videos that you don't even realize. You can probably hear that bird. And see, like, if I was just sitting out here, it just kind of, everything melds together out in nature, so you don't really realize all the sounds. There's some geese off in the background. Now that I'm thinking about sounds, though, I notice them. If you ever want to listen to my origin story, make sure you're listening to the podcast going backwards. So don't start on episode 1 and work your way up, because the first, like, 7 or so episodes are my origin story of doing this. Like I said, never done anything like this before, so just go backwards. It'll be a better experience, and then once you hit ones that are like, man, this is terrible. I mean, maybe these are terrible too, but I like these better than I like the first ones. And the last episode, I was out of focus for the majority of the episode. I have no clue how I missed that. I did a test episode, or a test video. I don't know how I didn't notice it was out of focus. And I fixed it because I kept messing up. My camera kept stopping. So I did fix the focus, but that was weird and annoying to watch, which no one's really watching the videos. But anyways, I've decided that I'm watching, I told you, or told the video at one point that I was not going to be able to watch nearly as many movies. So in the introduction section, a lot of times I like to throw in ratings of movies that I'm not actually reviewing, and I can't do that right now, but I am going to go back through my collection of movies, because those don't require internet to watch, and watch those while I'm doing other stuff like editing pictures and things like that. So I'll still be throwing out movie review ratings, but it won't be, they'll all be pretty good because it's in my collection already, so I don't have any this time, but nonetheless, So in the last episode, if you watched the video, do you have any clue where the bat went? I watched it probably 7 times, and right when I stand in the place where I'm going to stand, he comes down behind me, and it looks like he goes underneath my feet, but I'm pretty sure the rock I'm standing on doesn't have like a crack. Like I didn't have to jump over anything. So the bat just literally disappears. I don't know if he... Like, it almost makes me want to go back there and look where he was. Because even in the video, I keep looking back. I'm like, I wonder where he went. And I figured he was actually back on the other side of the cave. But in the video, he literally comes, and it looks like he just goes underneath me. And it's very strange. So I may actually go back there. I'll probably hike there eventually and go back to that point and try to figure out where he went. All that echolocation apparently is better than vision. And the wind, if you heard it in the last video, it's actually very soothing. I wish all wind could be like that. Because I was down in the ravine, so I guess you could only hear it going above it. And it sounded like the wind through trees. And I was like, oh man, I need to record this and make it where I can listen to it more often. Because it was nice. Maybe a better microphone would help with that too. I forgot to cut out the beginning and ending in the previous video. And it was all where I was climbing down the ravine and then climbing out at the end, which is visual and not for audio, so sorry you had to listen to that random stuff. It wasn't too long though. Alright, so the review for this one, the movie review, before I get into the actual movie review, Pacific Rim, I gave that one a 4 out of 10, and this is the first Pacific Rim. I thought I'd watched it, and I think I've watched pieces of it, but I hadn't watched the whole movie, and I did. I went back and watched it. It had a lot of potential. Originally, when I was watching it, I assumed it was more Transformer-esque, and I didn't care for it that way. But the second time I went through and watched it, this recent time, I thought it was more Gundam. And if you don't know Gundam, it's Gundam Wings, animated series. They have... it's called Mobile Suit Gundam. They're big suits that people pilot. It only takes one person to pilot it. But once I saw it more in that light, it seemed a lot cooler. It had a lot... Did I already say it had a lot of potential? Probably did. But it kind of fell short, so that's why I gave it a 4 out of 10. So now we're going to go into this week's movie review, which is Pacific Rim Uprising. I was going to grab some leaves to throw them up into the wind, and I didn't want to grab any poison ivy or anything like that, so that's why I used rocks. And I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. There will be spoilers, maybe. Can't remember if there's anything to really spoil in this movie. I guess there's a little bit, so if you haven't seen this movie, you may want to go watch it before listening to this. I don't think I'm going to add this one to my collection. 6 out of 10 is extremely borderline. I feel like if the ending had come through a little bit better, I probably would have added it. Like, throughout the movie, I was like, I'm going to add this to my collection, and then the ending, I was like, maybe not. So, I don't know, I haven't completely decided yet, but we'll go into it. I didn't need a recap of the previous movie. I recently saw it. I can't remember how many years were between the releases, but I didn't need to go back and see scenes from the first movie. It could have just started out, showed the dead ones, maybe showed the skeletons or something, and kind of said, our fathers fought for this, and only a few, some places haven't recovered, and we are whatever, and then gone into it. I didn't need all that long montage of the previous movie. I didn't realize how small Scrapper was, the one that she built, until it came upon the main one, and it was little bitty. I'd forgotten how big they were. This one, again, is very... this one was more Transformers beats Gundam. Like, they were moving around like Transformers, but you still have the people inside them piloting like Gundams. Gundams aren't able, usually, to roll. It's more of they don't move around like Transformers do. Transformers are vehicles, and then they can jump into the air, transform into people. Gundams are very rigid things, like the main suits in this movie. So, but definitely the rolling was badass. I love things that roll. I don't know why. I still can't explain it. But for whatever reason, if something can turn into a ball and roll around, it's just way, way cooler to me. Like in World of Warcraft, there was a what's called a toy, and you could get it and transform into this little creature that could turn into a ball like a roly poly and roll around. And I loved it. I used it all the time. And same thing in Zelda. It was kind of similar to Zelda, like that's what you look like, but it's just the Earth people, they could turn into balls and roll around. Actually, they look like boulders and stuff, so yeah. I don't know why, but if you can roll up into a ball and roll around, it's awesome. Except for armadillos. I'm not a big fan of armadillos. Mainly because I guess they don't ever do it. Like, even when you grab them, they just, like, jump and make noises and stuff like that. Like, if you scared an armadillo and it curled up into a ball, I would love them. But I don't know if they actually can curl up all the way into a ball. I don't know. Never seen one do it, and I see them in the wild all the time. Age was weird in this movie. It's supposed to be 10 years later. Some of the characters looked older than 10 years than they were. And some were like younger, or not, they didn't look younger, but they looked the same age, even though 10 years had passed, so that was kind of weird. But I am glad that they brought all the characters back from the previous movie. I liked them all in that movie, so it was nice that they were all back in the sequel. The helicopter scene when the first, I don't remember what the suits were called. I don't know. Whatever the suits were called. When the first one attacks and it's trying to destroy the helicopter, why was that helicopter still in the area? I mean, it felt like the entire time it could have flown in one direction and been really far away. And every single time they were fighting, the helicopter was just like right there. It felt like it was circling them. I'm like, get out of there. So that was kind of lame. The first drift between the male and female kind of lead characters was the exact same as the first drift between the male and female characters of the last movie. The female had a bad memory and she got stuck on it, and they had to, I mean, it wasn't as bad because in that one they actually had to shut it down because she was fixing to shoot the guns, and this one they just took the helmet off. But that was weird that it was the exact same like male-female thing. The battle on the ice was very cool. I loved how they were going in and out of the ice and through the ice, and well, it was kind of weird that one scene where they fall through the ravine and then somehow, like, it looks like they're falling down and then they come out like sideways. So that was a bit weird, but overall, I liked the ice battle scene. And I must say, out of everything in the movie, my favorite thing was probably the way they go about the sequel, about how they had technically taken over that guy's mind and they were using him to create all this. That was amazing. I did not see that coming, and that to me was a wind's going again, hopefully you can hear me. That to me was a very innovative way. When I talk, it seems to go even harder. See? Oh man, I know you can hear that. I'm gonna pause for a second while the wind does its thing. Okay. It was like, the louder I talked, the stronger the wind got. It's still going pretty good. I may just have to re-record this video. Anyways, that was a very innovative way for them to do their sequel. This is rather annoying. Okay. If Mount Fuji was their goal, why in the first movie did they not send smaller, faster creatures to get to it? And, I mean, I don't know if it was just something they were trying to do in this movie to kind of play on, but it didn't seem like they were trying to get past the people. It seemed like they were trying to kill, like, the machines and stuff, and create ways to battle the machines, like better ways to take them out. And it just seemed weird, because if I remember correctly in the first movie, they did have some of them that could move very quickly, so why weren't they just sending out a whole bunch of those and getting there? So I feel like that was kind of a half-ass attempt to create the plot in this movie. The wind is so annoying. After the kiss, where she kissed both the guys, I was thinking in my head, that's confusing, and that was the exact words he said, so that was pretty cool. The three monsters that come out, the kaiju, I'm pretty sure it showed them in a triangle around Mount Fuji. And then, like, not very long later, they're all three in the exact same city. So had they, I mean, even if they were coming in a triangle, one of them would have had to come over Fuji to get into the city. So that was kind of weird. I mean, maybe I just saw it wrong and they weren't completely in a triangle. But why would they meet up in the city and then go to Fuji? So, didn't care for that. It had some good laughs, but in that last fight, they were trying way too hard and they did not succeed. Like, in Thor Ragnarok, they were trying hard for laughs. They succeeded in all of them. And it made it a really good movie because of it. But this one, it actually hurts the movie because they do some stupid stuff. Some examples, in battle, it's just very predictable. As soon as, like, when they're falling down and their escape pod doesn't work, as soon as that happened, I was like, the scrapper is gonna, I said this out loud, I said the scrapper's gonna get them and then jump off. And sure enough, the scrapper cuts in and grabs them and jumps off, because I was wondering when the scrapper was gonna jump off anyways. Another one, when it shows the mountain, and it's completely silent, you hear some bird noises, and then it shows the kaiju. I've seen that a million times. It's not funny. Them flipping off the kaiju when they hit it underground was not funny. When the kaiju gets hit by the falling, whatever they call them, and it gets up and then falls down, it's like, that was kind of lame. I mean, they're trying to trick you thinking it didn't work, and then it falls down. That's been used a million times. One of them gets hit, and he's sliding in. You see the car right there. As soon as he starts sliding towards the car, I was like, he's going to hit it barely, and the alarm's going to go off, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, I feel like this is stuff that has recently been used in movies, and maybe that's why I consider it to be cheesy and not work and not funny, but that's what killed it for me. That's why I'm probably not going to add it to my collection, especially since I'm not adding the first one. So, how did the guy that's in the suit, that's got the injury on the side of him, can't even stand up, so she has to take his place, how did he get on top of the building to punch that other dude? And even then, he wasn't like hunched over or something. Did he have some sort of repair kit once he got out of there? And I mean, how far away was he? That just seemed weird that it was him that was able to do that. And guess that's it. He did do a good job of tying everything together. All the people kind of came back together. They solved their problems and they used the skills that they needed or that they were working on. So, I mean, it had a fairly decent ending, but just the last fight was too corny for me. I mean, it was, action-wise, it wasn't too bad, but joke-wise, it was annoying enough that I didn't like it. So anyways, that's it for Pacific Rim Uprising, 6 out of 10. We're going to go on to the recommendation. I keep touching this plant. I know it's not poison ivy, but it freaks me out. This is going to be The Incredible Mr. Limpet, a 1964 movie. It is in color. I don't know when they started making movies in color. This is a real and cartoon movie, just like Mary Poppins, probably made around the same time. I also don't know when Mary Poppins came out. And is made by Warner Brothers. And I'm going to read the description. It is aquatic life fanatic Henry Limpet falls into the sea and transforms into a fish, quickly becoming pals with a crab and developing a romantic bond with a female fish. Passed over by the Navy, now as a fish, he contacts his friend and helps the Navy in World War II by alerting them about enemy ships. And I don't think this gives too much away. He's got he can make a sound effect, and it's a very unique sound effect, and that's how he'll go and find the enemy ships and then make the sound effect, and that lets his Navy person know that they're there and helps him out. And he's like me, he's a very skinny person, and I think that's why the Navy wouldn't let him in, so now that he's able to do that, he feels very helpful. And it's Animated fairly well for the time. It's got some good laughs. It's kind of him finding out who he's meant to be, and it's got some problem solving, and I really like the mix of real world and cartoon, and it's got some hard decisions back and forth, and it's just overall a good movie, so I would recommend checking it out. The Incredible Mr. Limpet. It's Limpet. So anyways, we're going to go on to jokes and quotes. What do you call a snake that is 3.14 feet long? A python. When you have a bladder infection, you're in trouble. Alright. And quotes. Challenges are what make life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. And, I mean, that's just kind of a general characteristic of humans, is we constantly need something to overcome, and I'm not saying we need to be miserable all the time and trying to fight, but that kind of ties back into my thing where never stop fighting. That's kind of why, like, if you're constantly fighting, at some point you're going to overcome some struggles, and it feels very good to overcome stuff, and that's what makes life meaningful. And I think that's why in our society today that people are offended, they appear to be offended easier than previous generations, and I feel like that's because we live in a very easy time. I'm definitely not saying everybody, but a good portion of people online live in such an easy time that they have to struggle to find something to struggle about. They need to find something to overcome, so oftentimes it feels very silly, the things they pick. But that's for that one. Success is getting what you want, and happiness is wanting what you get. And a lot of people, one reason that I've never been envious of anybody else is you never know what's going on in their life. All you see is very minor details, and a lot of successful people that can have all the money in the world, they just aren't happy. And I mean, you see that all the time, and I know they always say money isn't everything, but it plays a pretty big role in life. But yeah, I mean, if you want what you're getting, then you're going to be a lot happier. So always, it's not easy to do, but try to figure out exactly what you want from life, and that's what will make you happy. And I've got a boat that's going to go across to end my podcast, so I'm going to start mentioning the next movie because I have no clue what I'm going to do, so it'll always be a surprise in the way it looks like right at the end. If you're watching this, you can see my video on YouTube. I've got all the episodes on there, and you can listen to older episodes on buzzfeed. Oh, he's actually coming in here, cool. And nature pictures on SilverC, or Flickr on SilverC_review, Pinterest, Twitter, and you can always get my new episodes on SoundCloud. That's going to be it for this one. Take care.